Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Welcome back. Now, this is, another video trying to break down the truth and get to the answers. And these are the top three next opponents for Gervonta Tank Davis. And I think that each one of these opponents brings something different to the skill and to the table to fight Tank Davis. And each one of these particular opponents would be a huge fight for Tank Davis, would give us a little more validation on how good or how bad or where exactly Tank Davis is. I think Tank Davis is a top level fighter. I think he looks to be good. But at this point, we don't know if he's ready to be called elite, to be called great, to be called special. He's a very good fighter, and we enjoy watching, and we understand that he's levels above a lot of the competition that he's been fighting lately, but we have to be honest and unbiased in our analysis, and he's not fighting the right level of competition to be proven. Let's start with Miguel Berchelt. He's 35 wins, 31 knockouts with 1 loss. He was stopped once in his career. He's 27 years old. He's 5'7", and he has a 71-inch reach. Miguel Berchelt, his last 3 fights have all ended in a stoppage. So you have to understand that this guy has an elite level knockout power. He's going to be hell for Tank Davis in a fight because he can match power for power. And I think that would be an interesting fight for Tank Davis. I think it's a close fight. And at this point, I'll even say it's a 50-50 fight because Tank Davis has not fought that level of competition before. So I think that's a very close fight, 50-50 fight. The next fight for to Tank Davis is Tevin Farmer. I think Tevin Farmer has a record of 28 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 6 knockouts, and he's been stopped twice in his career. And Tevin Farmer is also 28 years old. He's 5'6" with a 67-inch reach. Now, he's on a 3-fight. Well, I guess even more than that, he had a no contest on his record. But the point is, he has multiple wins. He's been stacking up a lot of wins, especially the last 3 fights with no issues. He has a stoppage and 2 unanimous decisions, so no close fights. He's been blowing guys out of the water in that regard. So Tevin Farmer is going to be a problem and difficult for Tank Davis because his elite level boxing skills. If you look at his record and his resume, and you pretty much go through, who he is. He did have a loss to Jose Pedraza back in 2012, but you have to understand that Tevin Farmer has a very short amateur career. So when you look at the 4 losses on his record, you have to understand that he had a very short amateur career. So he was basically learning on the job early in his career, and he's since shifted his entire career and shown that he's a top level boxer, an elite level type fighter, and he's ready to face this level of competition against Tank Davis now that he's matured and in his prime. So he's no longer the same fighter that took those early losses. He's no longer the same fighter that had those struggles. Tevin Farmer is legit and a real threat. He only has 6 knockouts, but within his last 3 fights, he has a knockout. So here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that when you don't know how to use your power, when you're still developing your boxing skills and you don't understand how to break a guy down, you're not going to get a lot of those early knockouts like a lot of guys in their careers. A lot of guys feast on bumps early in their career, and when they step up in competition, the knockouts wane. Tevin Farmer didn't get those type of opportunities because he didn't have a long amateur pedigree. Now at this point in his career, he's starting to gain momentum. He's starting to get his feet under him, and he's shown that he has propensity for understanding the boxing game at a high IQ level. I'm very high on Tevin Farmer because he has a special skill set. I think him and Tank Davis is a 50-50 fight as well. In my opinion, I think that would be a very difficult fight for Tank Davis. A lot of people say that Tank could blow these guys out of the water, but Tank hasn't done enough to prove that to me because Tank has never had, a top level, elite level fight. He's never taken on one of these big guys. And if they say these fights are easy for Tank, then why doesn't he take them? Because Tank's not making the fights that we want to see. The last fight, in which I believe would be probably Tank's most difficult fight, is against Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko has 12 wins, 1 loss with 9 knockouts. Vasily Lomachenko is 30 years old. He's a southpaw, and he stands at 5'7", has a 65.5-inch reach. I think that Vasily Lomachenko would be Tank Davis' most difficult opponent. And I think that Tank Davis could stop and hurt Vasily Lomachenko because Vasily has shown an ability to get hit and to even get hurt as far as being dropped and taking a loss against, Orlando Salido by being overwhelmed with volume. So we've seen vulnerabilities in Vasily Lomachenko. But with all of that being said, you have to still say that Vasily Lomachenko's skill set is what he relies on, not his power, because he doesn't have the elite level power that Tank and some of these guys do. He uses skills to his advantage, and his skill set is what pushed him to be pound for pound. This is what pushed Vasyl Lomachenko to be a special and elite level fighter. So at this point, I have to favor Vasyl Lomachenko over Tank Davis at least 60-40. Because I just don't see that Tank Davis is going to have enough tricks in the bag, to deal with a guy who had over 300 plus amateur fights. So you have to understand that, yes, Vasyl Lomachenko has a long amateur pedigree, and that makes him vastly experienced as far as understanding fighters who are looking for big shots to stop you and put you down. And I can imagine that Vasyl Lomachenko is going to use a lot of lateral movement, a lot of counters to get to Tank Davis. Tank Davis hasn't shown me an array of skills that I can truly believe in. But once again, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.